Hey Wastelanders, this is Gary from The Last Ranger, and today we're going to be talking about this knife. Give a refresher in case anybody that's new, never heard of this knife. This knife is not covered very much anymore because it's maybe 2 or 3 years old, maybe longer. I don't remember, but this is the murdered out. I call it the murdered out version because it's all in black. Blacked out edition of the proponent, and let's see if I can launch it with the flipper tab. So let's try it again. Yeah, so that brings me to my point of, in the flipper section, it's better to use the thumb stud because the flipper tab, this knife is really too heavy for a flipper tab. You need a thumb stud, to launch it. The thumb stud is my preferred method of this knife, launching this knife. There's a little bit of oil leaking out there. Let's talk about this knife. Let's talk about the specs of this knife. This knife is in D2 steel, and as you can see, it's a Wharncliffe. It's a liner lock. As I said, it's a thumb stud deployment type of knife. Use a little bit of push button and maybe a little bit of a force. You can get it to launch out perfectly without failing. But like I said, I prefer to use the thumb stud because you can always launch it out if you use the thumb stud. It has thumb studs in both sides, so it's truly a ambidextrous knife with a pocket clip. You can switch the pocket clip sides, and it's a liner lock, if I didn't say so. And let me talk about the liner. Some of the things that I don't like about the liner lock is if you look at it, I don't know if it shows up. Yeah, it's a pretty thin liner for the thickness of the blade. I just think the liner needs to be a little bit thicker. I could be wrong. That just could be my opinion, but it's pretty thin for the type of blade. There's a pin that comes with it. I don't have the pin on me. It's about the thickness of the hole. It screws in the hole. It's threaded on the other side. You can screw the pin in the hole, and you can make it a fixed blade. And it just acts as a way to keep the knife open without hurting yourself. Maybe if you're fearful of the thin blade and you have to do a lot of cutting and you're fearful of the liner lock, you'll put that pin in there and it can't close on the pin. There's a hole in the flipper tab, so it's excellent. It will not close. You see that blade thickness? So it has a black G10. They came in various other colors, and titanium, bronze, brass, all kinds of. Brass. This is heavy. The brass. I had the brass and I gave it away. That was I think over a pound, or right at a pound. It's lanyard friendly, but I don't think you're thinking lanyard friendly. I'll use this hole, but really, just use that post. You can see that post in there. I'm going to tell you about my likes of the knife. There's so much to like about the knife. I like the blade shape offhand. You can't get a better blade. It's got all the flat cutting features of the Wharncliffe with the pokiness of a spear point. The size and comfort in the handle, it's very, very, very comfortable. It has the jimping up top, and it looks like it would be like sharp jimping, but it's eased over on the edges, so it's very comfortable jimping. It's more decorative, but it's usable at the same time. The idea you can insert a pin in this hole and make it a fixed blade, that's fabulous too. There's two methods of deployment, so it's alike. I'll just say it's alike. There's two methods of deployment, but like I said, the flipper tab takes some getting used to. You have to apply a lot of downward force, like a push button, to get it to flip out. I mean, you see it didn't flip out. I didn't apply enough force, so let's just try it again. Yeah, so it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. But if you want to get it to flip out excellent, just use your thumb stud. The thumb stud is the best method. If I had it in me, I probably would probably do a flipper delete and just make it a thumb stud only deployment. But I'll still list it as a plus because it has two methods. For my dislikes, the liner is often difficult to disengage. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. You can see it has no jimping. I think that they provide that wedge so it feels soft, but I wish they would have just gave us an 1/8 of an inch higher on the liner to disengage it, because you have to press really far in there, and you have to press with the meter of your finger to get it to disengage. And if you disengage it and over, your fingertip will get sore eventually. So this is not like a fidgety knife. It's more of like a user and then put it away. So the only other thing that I thought was like something they miss on the design, I thought it was maybe they missed it on maybe a way to store the pin in the knife would be a plus. This hole could be widen, and it could be threaded as so on the bottom, and you could put that pin either in here or in there as a place for the regular screw, and it would aid in holding the pocket clip on, and it would aid in storing this pin for the front of the knife. Don't remember the knife, but I have a knife that came with a pin, and it's stored on the knife in similar fashion. It had I had a screw hole in the knife that was out of the way, where you could store the pin in with the knife. They didn't rely on a lanyard or some kind of feature like that. That's all I have, guys. I just wanted to revisit this knife. This is really a favorite of mine. This is a good one. I like this. I really like this knife. I like the blacked out version especially. Take care, Wastelanders.